interesting. It varies from time to time. The most important thing I will tell you is, because I can't really tell you anything except I can tell you thank you. And for you business students, that's probably the most important thing for you to learn anything from this trip, is the fact that the owner got up here and thanked you for coming here. And I do mean that sincerely. My wife and I are the owners. The gentleman who brought around the cluster of grapes for you to try, that was our son, Bo. He's the winemaker. We all say that we've been here 5 years, and under Tony's direction for winemaking, we know just enough to be dangerous. But we're working real hard, and the fact that we take really very good care of our customers, at least we really try, should mean something as you take your education to your business community later on. So always appreciate your customers immensely. Anyway, what we have here is kind of a product. Everybody hear me okay in the background? It is a product of a retirement that went wild. It really did. And all of you, whether you're business students or not, be careful for what you want, because you will get it. And that applies to a lot of things. My wife and I have been married for a long time, in excess of 40 years. And we had another business. We worked at it together. It was immensely good to us, enough to the point when we sold it, we could take our kids' inheritance and buy a winery. 7 years ago, this was agricultural land, and we just changed it from one portion of agriculture to another portion of agriculture, because instead of raising soybeans and corn, the gentleman who owned it sold it to us, and then we started a winery, which by definition, under the Ohio Administrative Code, is an agricultural endeavor. And although you see relatively few grapes here on the property, we only have about 2 acres here, because we've only got a total of about 7.5 acres of land. We do have the preponderance of our vineyard is where we live, about 1.5 miles from here on the ridge, and we've got about 16 acres of grapes. And to kind of put things in perspective, 16 acres of grapes on a 100-acre plot of land doesn't sound like much, but it takes about 1.5 individuals full time for the one gentleman just to take care of them, and about half time during the summer for someone else to take care of them. So it's a lot of attention to detail. Raising grapes in Ohio is unbelievably difficult. The cluster that you had the chance to taste this morning, that was a Zinfandel or Syrah?
Zinfandel.
That was a Zinfandel. But we say around here, just to differentiate, we say red Zinfandel. Really, there's only one kind of Zinfandel, and they are all red. But if you take those grapes and you crush them and you ferment them on the skins, and you release the color pigments in them, you get a deeply pigmented, usually styled, dry, red wine that's full body and jammy, a lot of fruitness to it. You take the same grapes and you bring them in and you crush them and you just press them, then you get just a little bit of color pigmentation, and all of a sudden now you've got white Zinfandel, same grapes. So when you get on the grocery store shelf or someplace, that's the only difference is the style of winemaking and what you got to taste this morning. Or the Zinfandel grapes. And by the way, those came from just, in fact, they got here, Bo unloaded the truck this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, so we could crush this morning. Because when you do wine, freshness is the key to everything. They loaded those in California 3 days ago. They harvest our fruit. We've got several growers out there now that we've established relationships with, and they just do this by practice. They've got the system down unbelievably smooth out here. They'll harvest the grapes at night when the temperature's down. The grapes they're primed. They'll harvest them and put them in small picking lugs. They'll bring them up, continue to do that until about 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock they'll start winding things down because it starts getting hot out there. By 10 o'clock they've got all the grapes out of the field that they're going to harvest. They'll put them then in refrigerated units, bring the temperatures down to about 34 degrees, put them on refrigeration trucks, and ship them, and about 72 hours later, boom, we've got them. And the fruit is unbelievable. To kind of give you a reference point, we're growing some red grapes called Noray, and I think if things go right, they will be the Cabernet Sauvignon of the East, because they are unbelievably good. And we can work with them, and what makes them great is that we can grow them in our soils, and we can grow them in our climate. And we can't grow Cab here, we can't grow Merlot here, we can't grow Chardonnay here. There's a small pocket up around the lake area because they get some lake effect, but they can grow some of that fruit. But for the majority of the state of Ohio, we just can't do it because our winters are way too cold and our growing season's too short. This Noray is really, really nice, and it will grow in our soil. So we planted several acres of it, and we're really hoping that that's going to be our lead grape. But anyway, if you take a Morey grape to kind of give you the difference between California and here, no matter what the quality is, the size of a typical cluster of a Morey and some of the rids that we can raise here in our climate is about 10 ounces. Same cluster from California came in, our guy who works in the vineyard, he said, I don't believe this, he weighed it, it was a pound. It's the growing conditions out there, and that's why California is the best place in the world to grow grapes. Everything is just perfect out there. No bugs, no humidity, no nothing. They just grow there. Here we're fighting a lot of nature, and they're very difficult. So if you wonder, the moral of the story is why there is so much wine grown, or so many wineries and so much wine produced in California is because that's where the best and the best grapes in the world can be. Wine, I tell folks, is real simple. You had wine today for lunch, but if you stop and think about it, and you take it back to its least common denominator, it's grape juice on its way to vinegar. That's it. It's just nothing more than that. And the same process has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. You just take grape juice, and if you do nothing, you smash them up, it will become wine before it becomes vinegar. Maybe not good wine, but it will become technically wine because usually there's enough yeast, wild yeast cells in there to get it to start fermenting. What we're going to do today, and I asked Tony to be okay if everybody would bring their wine glasses, unless some of you go to work for a winery or you become vintners or winemakers, you may never get the opportunity to do a tank sampling. It's not just a neat experience. We're going to be able to do that today. We've got some Chardonnay. That Chardonnay is, again, it's from California. This is from actually, oh, by the way, the business students, you'll love this. Different appellations in different states have different grapes that they grow, and of course different price points if they grow the same grape that the appellation next to it. Appellation is not Appalachia like a mountains, an appellation is a district or a region that has somewhat similar growing characteristics. The Chardonnay that you're going to taste came from an appellation literally on the border between, and I can't recall what it is, it's, we'll come to it, and Sonoma. So we got XYZ appellation here, Sonoma here. Fence, property line fence. We got our grapes from the gentleman who's just north. He's not in Sonoma. Grows the grapes there. It's the same dirt. It's the same climate. It's the same everything. We pay him $1,200 a ton for Chardonnay. Across the fence in the Sonoma, which will hold true in Napa, big names, $2,500 a ton across the fence. Unbelievable difference when it's really the quality is somewhat the same. So you're going to taste some fruit that happen to not come from Sonoma, but it's the same climate, the same dirt. And what you're going to actually taste today is some that's not finished. This is really raw. It's not juice anymore. It's fermented way down. It's not completely finished. And it's what Chardonnay would taste like before it's finished and before it goes in the oak. So now you're going to have to kind of put on your viticulturalist hat and your enologist hat, and to understand this is a work in progress that you're going to taste, definitely not the finished product. The next time you go to taste Chardonnay, if you either over at the tasting bar or you get it at your wine shop, you'll say, okay, now I understand where that was. It's not grape juice, it's someplace in the middle. Other than that, to kind of give you an idea of the investment that we have here, and this is kind of for the business guys here, for this tract of land, buildings, equipment and so forth, we're looking at something just south of $3 million. So if you want $3 million laying around and want to start a winery, take a gamble on whether you can make it go. And remember, when you are here, no matter which direction you go, you get closer to civilization. This was a big gamble. Fortunately, through Tony's help, from the enology side of what we do, it's proving to be successful. We've gone from first year, we produced, not bigger's not better, but to kind of give you a reference point on growth. First year we produced 1,200 gallons. This year it looks like about 65,000 gallons, and that's over a period of about 5 years.
That's a big growth.
So we've gone from zero to about the third largest winery in Ohio in 5 years, and I'm really tired. Here is the Chardonnay. What we're going to do is kind of do this organized, because I don't want to have to turn the tap on and off. So if people can slide in here.
Yeah, get in line.
And when we start